You say peacock and no one bats an eye. But you say poopcock and everyone loses their minds.
I'm losing my mind too. Throughout Honkai Star Rail's history, character releases have been relatively cohesive. A majority of releases could be placed into one of two categories. You have your generalist characters who are versatile enough to be placed into a majority of teams and be beneficial to that team. And you have your niche characters who are really only designed to work in one specific archetype, but they excel in that role. And Yao Guang? She is no exception to the latter category. Yao Guang is by far the best elation buffer in the game. Which characters does that benefit, you may ask? Well, you see, why the heck would you release the dedicated elation support before any of the elation elation characters? Now, I am perfectly aware that Sparxie is releasing in the same patch as her, but guys, consider this. If Yao Guang is on a 6-week banner, why? Why didn't they just put Sparxie on a 6-week banner as well? Why do we have to wait 3 weeks to be able to even use the character that we pulled for? It's like buying a Ferrari and being told the gas pedal will ship 3 weeks later. It's gonna look gorgeous sitting in your garage, but you aren't really going to get anywhere with it. I wouldn't even be so upset about this if Yao Guang was decent with other characters, but unfortunately I'm here to report that outside of elation, she's a little bit mid. She's so bound to elation that the devs placed an unreleased character into her character trial. Do you realize how insane that is? They have never done this before, by the way. How fitting that our first elation character is pranking us by not even letting us play her in the first place. Now, I could go on and on about how upset I am about all of this nonsense and make comparisons like, imagine if they released Cyrene before any of the Chrysos airs, because it just sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But I will instead compose myself and provide elaboration on some of my points. Grandmaster Chino, if you would, please take the stage. Thank you, angry little man. So, what does the Xianzhou's chosen seer provide for her teams? Well, her skill increases all allies' elation by 20% of her own elation, which is ineffective for teammates that do not have elation scaling in their kits. But don't fret, she is capable of far more. What about her ultimate? Well, for the low price of 180 energy? Wow, that was so surprising that the Dark Wizard's facade of 1,000 years of wisdom has been completely dismantled. I get to keep the hat though, right? For 180 energy, you can increase the entire team's all-type res pen by 20%, which is 5% less than Ruan Mei gives on her skill. And she's technically a free character. But that's not all. Her ultimate also makes Aha take immediate action, triggering an Aha instant at a fixed 20 punchline stacks, which will also trigger her elation skill. Now this is actually a significant amount of damage, but unfortunately completely useless to the rest of her team. Now this will be a major selling point for her in the future when we, actually have elation characters, but unfortunately, they're not currently in the room with us. With Aha's speed scaling off of the 3 fastest elation characters in your party as well, you're not going to be hitting any useful speed thresholds on them unless you are somehow hitting 270 speed on your Yao Guang. Outside of some self buffs and SP generation, Yao Guang also enables all allies to do a small amount of elation damage. Oh wait, so maybe her elation buffs to allies from her skill aren't so bad after all. Yeah, about that. The damage scales based on whoever has the highest elation, which with any teammates that aren't elation, it's always going to be her. So it's always going to be going off of her elation. The elation that she gives these teammates in this scenario is useless. With that being said, her skill does give her elation though. So I mean, you do have that going for you at least. But enough talking about it. Let's put her to the test. Yao Guang's best synergies outside of elation, will be skill-focused allies that can trigger her passive consistently and preferably multiple times per turn. For our demonstrations, we will be using the obvious choice, which is Archer. I think he's literally one of the only characters that works somewhat decently with her right now. When looking at Archer's best teams, it's hard to choose who we'd be replacing because he already has so many strong allies, especially with Sparkle receiving Nova Flare buffs this patch. We'll start off with an easy matchup for our resident Peacock. In the sustainless team of Archer, Sparkle, Cerydra, and RMC, we will be replacing RMC with Guang. Now, replacing a year-old free character with a brand new premium buffer who is paired with her current best partner in the game should be a significant damage increase, right? Okay, what the heck? How am I supposed to argue a case for this unit if she can't even provide a significant damage increase over our 1-cost Mem Enjoyer? He's 1 cost because I gave him the Hyacine cone. She has her signature here, by the way. She is doubling his cost, even when replacing the free character in Archer's sustainless team. We have still not made any significant strides towards greatness. It leaves us asking, what is the purpose of her release at this point in the game? I feel that every new character that gets released into the game should be the best as something. And while yes, she is the best elation buffer in the game, there are no elation characters to buff at this current time. So the answer is very clear, as it should have been from the beginning. Guang is almost entirely meant for the elation archetype, with little to no flexibility. But if that's the case, then why? Why are we so content with placing her into the game 3 weeks prior to having any teammates to properly synergize with the anomaly arbitration reset, shilling elation as well, along with upcoming endgame modes? I'm just really perplexed as to why Hoyoverse would choose to release these new characters in this order. If Sparxie was first, it would have been fine, as unlike Guang, Sparxie is decently functional with our current roster and can actually still deal some respectable damage. Whether it was running them alongside each other or running Sparxie first, I think either scenario would have been better than what we have now, making this undoubtedly the most confusing character release in Honkai Star Rail history. With all of that being said, I would just like to add that I do not hate Guang. In fact, I like her a lot. I E6 S5'd her on the day of her release. And I'm personally a huge fan of her and Sparxie and the entire Elation archetype as a whole. I think it's really fun. The reason I am so upset about all of this Elation nonsense is not because I dislike the archetype, but because I'm so passionate about wanting to play it, and I can't. We just finished sitting through an 8-week patch of basically nothing, and now I have to wait another 3 weeks to even play the character that I just pulled for. I really hope that this does not become a trend with new archetypes that release in the future, as dropping characters that serve no beneficial purposes at the time of their release is a recipe for disaster. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't already, go check out my E6 S5 Guang summons. I will catch you in 3 weeks for my E6 S5 Sparxie summons, when I will finally be able to showcase these new characters and play them. Take care.